We've not done this for a while.
We haven't. I can't remember the last time we did this.
What, at home?
Yes.
Or generally?
Oh, well, both.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been to the cinema much either, have we? Because...
Money.
Yeah, money and stuff. So yeah, we are. We decided that we would review the Doctor Who specials as one.
Did we?
Yeah, because we did say, do we want to do them?
Well, we had a conversation about it. I don't recall us actually reaching a decision, other than the fact we're doing it now, which basically means the decision was made in your head and
Probably
ta-da.
something like that.
Welcome to the wonderful world
of Sasha Rao. All three specials have happened. So that is the 60th anniversary stuff over, I guess. And as a set, I've loved them. Absolutely loved them. So if we start with the Star Beast, which is, they're all bonkers. That's a thing.
They are peak Russell.
Yeah, absolutely. And
for good or ill.
Yeah, and obviously Star Beast based on a comic from 78, and originally the Fourth Doctor, and fairly faithful as an adaptation. It was interesting. I was talking to Kay about it last night, and she was saying that she thought, we'll be going into spoilers because they've all aired, right? Just so you know. And she was saying that she knew that Beep the Meep was going to turn bad. Bearing in mind she has no Doctor Who knowledge outside of watching episodes, and then she hasn't watched it for donkey's years
because she's unfamiliar with the original.
Yeah, she wouldn't know the original story at all. But she said that because she thought the Meep looked like a Mogwai, and would turn into a gremlin. So she was half expecting like someone to spill water on it and
evil to
feed it after midnight.
Evil happened.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting because I had not even considered that. I obviously clocked the ET reference when Meep's hidden all amongst all the toys, which you then later find out are all the Dr. Donner's memories seeping through Rose. But yeah, I hadn't clocked the Gremlins thing at all. But once Kay had said it, I was like,
oh
yeah, because even like the face, like the sort of big eyes, like very Gizmo, and then what the hell? It's very Stripe.
Especially then the teeth as well.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is how, and I've not seen like of all the like YouTube videos we watch that sort of really clutch at straws. Who culture. Sometimes we love you, but
sometimes
fucking hell. They nobody else seems to have made that connection. So I thought it was quite interesting. There's a lady of a certain age made that connection when she's not really a.
This is nice. This is you.
I'm not mentioning her age. Not doing that. But yeah, so I love the Star Beast. I love the whole like the pace of it. It was a very welcome return to the Doctor and Donna. It could have just gone straight at the end of series 4, and you wouldn't have like the pacing, the tone, the humour. It felt familiar. It was like welcoming back an old friend.
That's essentially what I think the whole thing was.
Yeah, kind of. And I think it's quite a. I think it's the right decision to make because the 50th, 10 years ago, doesn't seem like 10 years ago for a start. It feels like 5 minutes ago. That really leaned into big Doctor Who history. And, of a sort, it featured all the Doctors up to that point. And it was a big multi-Doctor story and I think to just try and redo that 10 years later when it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years would have just been a bit like, right, treading on ground, are we? So to not do that and to kind of go against expectation, I think has really served it well. I think it's really worked.
Well, I think I said to you as well that what this felt like, and I think absolutely probably was the proper conclusion to that whole Dr. Donna
Yeah.
kind of story, character arc, etc., because of the fact that obviously it was left in such a way that was just like, you can't do that to probably, actually, certainly in my head, the best companion of New Who.
Arguably one of the best companions ever.
Yeah. But just the fact as well that even following on from that, sort of throughout the rest of Tennant's run, Donna popped up again in again in various specials and end of series stuff.
Yeah.
It was very clear that story wasn't finished with in the grand scheme of things.
You say that, the end of time for me, well, weird actually, because at the end of Journey's End, I fully accepted that as that's the end of that story. Wouldn't have expected any more. Then the end of time came along. And I was like, okay, and it still fits, and it still felt like a right continuation, like it was always planned, and maybe it was, and great. But then at the end of that, right, okay, so there was the failsafe, and Donna is finally happily married, and she's been given the winning lottery ticket, which went so well. Do you know what I mean? So there was this really nice ending to it again. So again, until I heard that, we knew that this pair were coming back, I wouldn't have said I thought the story was not over.
It's the fact that the Donna that was left was not Donna.
The Donna we loved.
Well, yes, but not even that. It wasn't Donna the character. It was It was a factory reset Donna.
Yeah.
And it was they dropped kind of enough hints between, was it The Runaway Bride and the season, where basically just meeting the Donna had actually changed her. The fact that she had become more like the Doctor. The fact that she was investigating was it adipose industries separately. And yes, I know there's lots of stuff in that whole season-long arc about the whole was that actually her, or was it the threads of destiny pulling them together? Blah 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 blah. So to kind of leave her where she was, even with the happy ending, it still didn't feel like an ending to me, because it didn't resolve Donna. It kind of put her into a place, but it was just like, again, it was still factory reset Donna.
Yeah, I think the only minor negative, and it's minor, is now when you watch Journey's End, I mean, I sobbed the first time I saw that episode and her mind was wiped and we lost Donna. That Donna died. And it was heartbreaking. And every time I've watched it over the years, it's never been any less like moment. Whereas now, next time I watch it, I'll be like, yeah, it gets fixed in 15 years. So I think that's the only negative to it is that brilliant episode that absolutely breaks your heart. You will never watch in the same way again. But that's okay. So yes, we were talking about the Star Beast, or supposed to be. I think it's probably not going to be massively we talk about the specials as such. It's just going to be we talk about the thing, isn't it? So obviously the big deal with the Star Beast is the way I felt it handled the character of Rose. And I'm not a trans person, so forgive me if I'm talking out of turn, but to me seemed very nicely done, because what I felt was, and I saw people on both sides of the fence, with or without the right to comment, if I'm honest. But what I said, and it's again a through line for me that follows into my comments about Wild Blue Yonder, and we've literally just watched the giggle. So I've not seen anybody else's reaction or anything yet. But I suspect there'll be elements that would feed into it as well. Is do what your Doctor Who's supposed to do and watch it through the eyes of a 7-year-old. And what the Star Beast does is it absolutely normalises having a trans person in your life, and and just like it's not a thing, but also shows you that some people are cruel, and like when the boy's dead name Rose on the bikes, and Donna's like, I know the mother or whatever, and lovely to see her so protective, as obviously Donna would be. But I just think what you do is in a child's life, and I've seen it in actual life where I've got friends with children, and they're not Uncle Paul and Uncle Paul, and it's not a thing to them, and it will never be a thing to them, because it's just normalised that this is the wider world, and these are this is the spectrum of people that live within it. So while I've seen lots of Whovian adults absolutely get an absolute state over it, wind your fucking neck in, because it's a what?
No,
it's it's a children's program still. I know we all love it and all the rest of it. I know hundreds of adults that watch it. In my own personal life, never mind the wider picture. But just think of those kids that just watch it and just go, oh, okay, so yeah, that's what a trans person is. That's what you've got to think about. So yeah, that's kind of my stake on that. Really, I haven't really got anything else to say. What do you got anything to add to that?
I will,
because you're normally better at advocacy than I.
Yes, I will say absolutely 100%, and obviously Yasmin Finney, isn't it? The actress?
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously, Yasmin Finney is trans as well. So again, that's a really solid element of actually having a trans actor playing a trans person and bringing their own lived experience to the role. I don't want to get into the whole debate around sort of queer people should only play queer characters, yada yada yada, because that's just a minefield. I think it is safe to ultimately, if you are an actor, yes, you should be able to play every role and any role, within sort of reason. But I think the reality at the moment is that it's important to have queer actors playing queer roles because of the lack of opportunity, lack of representation element. All things being equal, shouldn't be a factor. I think some of the things I've read in terms of sort of interviews and like sort of op-ed pieces with Yasmin is that she talks about the importance of having a character like Rose for trans kids out there, because despite what many people would think, just like being sort of gay or lesbian or bi, you will quite often have a very early inkling that you're trans, and having role models does so much to actually sort of normalize how you feel about yourself. If you think you might be trans or gender diverse or non-binary, it normalizes it. It gives you a frame of reference. It makes you feel less alone. So I cannot understate the importance of having more characters like Rose in a mainstream family show. On the flip side, ultimately the person writing it is still a white, cisgender sort of male, granted queer, but I've had conversations before about sort of some of the issues I have with Russell T Davies when it comes to kind of spectrum representation, in that he does have his own very specific, at times somewhat blinkered view. But yes, I think as well that there's stuff I've seen in terms of some of the, if you like, informed negative opinion of Rose as a character, and it's one of the things I said to you that I'd come across, which is that yes, if you look at it from the perspective of someone who isn't like a young child watching Doctor Who and going, oh, that's a trans person. If you look at it from I suppose a more kind of academic, stand away from the sort of the emotional impact, it does have an element of still othering transness, in terms of making it that Rose is trans because she is sort of impacted by sort of the Time Lord human meta crisis. So it's basically kind of bringing those elements into it, which
is that kind of implying that if Donna had had a child outside of carrying the meta crisis, the child wouldn't have been trans potentially.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and that, and again, that's one of those where, yes, if you're looking at it from a slightly, as I say, a slightly more educationally informed perspective, that is absolutely, I think, a valid take to have. But again, it kind of leans into a similar kind of conversational strand around kind of queer media in general, which is, for the longest time, queer media and queer representation has had to, for want of a better phrase, have a point. You generally wouldn't get just like silly rom-coms that feature queer characters. You wouldn't get queer characters that are just there. I mean, things like some of the conversations I heard and some of the op-eds I heard about films like Love, Simon, as an example. And it was, I think ultimately it came down to the whole, absolutely, it is a fluff piece ultimately. It's in that regard, it's probably no different to hundreds of straight equivalent sort of coming of age rom-com type films. But the reality is, we don't have hundreds of coming of age rom-com type films that are based around the queer experience, and that's why that sort of thing is important, because again, it's about normalizing it. So yeah, I think what Paul was saying so earlier in terms of there are finer nuances around this which sort of probably do deserve a bit more discussion, but ultimately Doctor Who is not that kind of show. It's a family show. It's designed to be it's not Torchwood.
If that's what you want, go watch Heartstopper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like...
So having a trans character, sort of front and center, who is basically just that. And to be fair, there are some absolutely lovely like character moments between Donna and her mum around kind of like sort of trans identity.
I get it wrong stuff.
Yes,
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, because those are conversations that need to happen as well. It's not about, because this will actually probably tie in to the episode we've just watched in terms of the giggle. It's not about always being 100% perfect and getting it right, because people will get it wrong. I get it wrong. I through some of the stuff that I'm involved with, I work with and around and kind of interact with people who identify as like non-binary and gender diverse, so they use different pronouns, and there are times where I will accidentally misgender someone when I'm referring to them. It happens. So again, that's a really important conversation to have, which is that it's not about always getting it right, but it's about having the right intentions and about realizing when you're getting it wrong and wanting to do something about it. So yeah, that was a big tick.
He does actual training on this shit, so I go with what he says. Yeah. No.
Lazy.
Why does every video we do just degenerate into French and Saunders quotes?
I don't know why that could possibly be. Well, it's either that or going to be Victoria Wood.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, love the Star Beast. Great fun. Absolute hoot. Had some really important points to land, and I think it landed them well.
Also, one thing we haven't talked about, because obviously, again, we have been so focused on the trans element, which, again, unsurprisingly, the frigging culture wars are going on at the moment. A lot of people have latched on to the trans element. The one thing we've massively overlooked is excellent sort of disabled representation as well.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. With Shelley Ann Bingham, is that her name?
Yes.
Is that the character or the actress?
I think that's the character.
I don't know the actress's name. But yeah, yes, great, well done. But the thing that stood out for me from the Star Beast in that avenue was that don't make me the problem.
Yeah.
I thought, like that. Yeah. That's cool. I was funny enough. We were talking about this in school this week. My days are such a blur at the minute. And
someone who actually works with young children, like young children,
and children with various learning difficulties at that as well. Yeah, so we were talking, and I was saying that last year we went to Disney, and my cellulitis flared up on the flight out. I was confined to a wheelchair for supposed to be for the whole holiday. Obviously, being me, that went well. 4 days of no theme parks. I'm only here for 10. Fuck off. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. And I was saying how what an eye opener it was to be in a wheelchair for the better part of 10 days, albeit on and off because I'm a stubborn bastard. But it just amazed me how people don't see you. I'm like, okay, so I might not be at eye level, but obviously I'm still absolutely the tub of lard that I am, and I'm taking up this weird cubic space.
With your legs sticking out.
Yeah, and people were walking into me, and if they'd bash my foot, fine, because it's just my foot at the end of a stick, stick. It's my leg. I could have probably coped with that slightly better, but people were walking into the side of the wheelchair and falling over my lap, and I remember it was one of the times you weren't feeling well, and Rich and I were in Hollywood Studios. I remember turning around and going, "The fuck is wrong with people? Jeez, I mean, am I invisible suddenly because I'm not walking?" And the answer is yes. And God, I mean, just horrific. I honestly could not believe what difference that suddenly made. And then I start going, because obviously Mr. will put his foot in his mouth more often than not. I started sort of going back going, have I ever walked into a wheelchair? Have I tripped over a wheelchair? And I don't think I have, actually.
No, you've done other wildly inappropriate things.
I've done so much worse. However,
walking into a wheelchair would actually be a step up for you.
Pretty much. But yeah, it was a shocker and eye opener. So actually, looking at the representation of wheelchair users and done well was again a big tick. But that brings us into the children in need special and the Davros debate, and the fact that they've retconned Davros to no longer be a wheelchair user. And I've spoken to wheelchair users about this, and they feel robbed because actually, although he was evil, he was representation for them, and it was something like for cosplayers to play up to and stuff like that. So actually, they feel done wrong by a group of non-wheelchair users making that decision for them, and that ties back into don't make me the problem.
Yeah, I will also, as a counterpoint to that, because it's actually a really good point that I encountered when I was at conference last month, because we had a lot of motions being raised around neurodiversity and queer identities, because there is very much an interlink between the two.
Yeah.
So we actually had quite a few kind of people within Unison who were getting up to kind of talk about their own experience as neurodivergent individuals. And there was something one of the speakers said that really stood out to me when kind of talking about things like neurodivergent work policies, that sort of stuff, is, when you've spoken to one person with autism, congratulations, you've spoken to one person with autism. And I think that's the key thing. And I think that, and again, this will actually probably tie in to the giggle, because that was definitely one of the underlying themes of the episode we've just watched, which is that it's very easy to make kind of assumptions and blanket statements on either side of a particular argument based on you having spoken to, sort of a small subset of that particular group, whether it's queer people, whether it's neurodivergent people, whether it's disabled people, whether it's men, whether it's women, yada, 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 yada.
Cats.
Yes, we are all, well, probably not cats. I'd be concerned if they was talking back to you. ultimately, yes, you can get informed decisions, but they are still going to be informed by that subset, and that subset that you interact with does not speak for the entirety of said subset, essentially. That would be I think the point I was making. I think ultimately a decision was made, and there's going to be people for and against it, probably on both sides of the fence. And I think the way I tend to look at it is that ultimately
It's not real.
Well, there is that, but I think ultimately it is better to err on the side of caution and be overly positive, or try to be overly positive about stuff, than doubling down on something, which, as we know, is something that Russell T Davies has been incredibly guilty of in the past, as have many other people when it comes to those kind of cultural representation debates.
So while Blue Yonder,
wow, I feel shut down.
no, I'm just thinking we've said it all. Unless you've got something else you want to say about Star Beast. No, okay. While Blue Yonder, I loved.
I absolutely adored. I was a bit like because obviously some of the negativity that I've seen about it, and I can't lie, there are a couple of moments, certainly not right at the beginning, but kind of in that middle bit where I was a bit like, where is this going? And, but no, absolutely freaking loved Wild Blue Yonder.
See, to me, I've seen lots of people go, I didn't like it.
Oh, you're going to say what you said to me, aren't you?
Yeah, quintessential Doctor Who to me.
Yeah.
Because the Doctor and companion end up somewhere in the TARDIS that they had no idea they were going. TARDIS is taken away because it's an easy fix. Ergo, also Scottish screwdriver and yada and yada and yada. And you are then left with a situation that is already happening that they've got to solve, unravel, deal with, fix, and leave.
Escape.
Yeah. There's monsters. Not quite sure what the monsters are. Are the monsters what you think they are?
Are they even monsters?
Are they even monsters? Yeah. Like, the ominous banging turned out to not be a monster.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, Doctor Who in a nutshell. Just...
What was that?
Austin Powers, look, it's me in a nutshell. No, okay.
No.
So I think...
Stick to French and Sword.
Yeah, I think I will, yeah. Wise. So it was Doctor Who at its... You know I've got that line in the panto. Clearly I know one of my lines. It was
quintessential Doctor
absolutely purest Doctor Who. Doctor Who in its poor... Fuck me, I can't speak all of a sudden. It is like 10 to 1 or something.
In its purest form.
Doctor Who in its purest form is what I was trying to say.
We could also have just gone with, it's a classic Doctor Who bottle episode.
Now you say that, to me, because someone else referred to it as a bottle episode, and to me a bottle episode is a term that was coined when you are saving a fuck ton of money by just
having a single set,
having it in your standing set, i.e. the Enterprise bridge and sick bay and so the fact that this was almost entirely green screen and a lot of heavy effects budget, don't know that I think bottle episode is the right term for it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe bottle episode doesn't mean what it used to mean. Who knows?
Terms change over time?
Apparently so.
Witchcraft.
Oh, look, you scared the cat. Look at her. All right, Shads.
I'm not the one that hissed then and freaked her. That was you.
She was looking at you and she was like...
yeah, because you were hissing and...
Shads. Oh, bless her. Batshit crazy. And again, I saw a lot of people in their 40s and 50s bemoaning the monsters. And I had two things to say back to them. One is, again, look at it through the eyes of a 7-year-old. That would have freaked me the fuck. I still wouldn't be sleeping, like over a week later. My mum would still be having trouble getting me to bed. End of story. because that would have absolutely done me in something like that. Christ, I still have trauma about Sapphire and Steel because the man had no face. It was basically a fencing mask sprayed sin colour, and I still freak out about it. If I'd had to deal with that monstrosity, the therapy would have been ongoing. And also, these are the same people that were going on about, oh yeah, more David and Catherine, more David and Catherine. You can't get much more than 2 of them in each. Well, you can have 3 of them. But I'm like, you asked for more David and Catherine. Russell's given you more David and Catherine.
Yes. Fucking
Fucking Ming-mongs. But yes, I thought it was. I thought it did. It did every. And again, classic Doctor Who. It's hard to say classic Doctor Who because that's actually how people refer to the old series. So quintessential Doctor Who.
There you go.
And in much as it was scary, it was funny, it was, it balanced. And the Doctor and Donna being the Doctor and Donna.
Yes.
Just glorious. Absolutely glorious.
And I think that's one of the things I liked about it is that obviously, you had their original season pretty much going really probably from Fires of Pompeii, where kind of Donna really started to, step up and go, this is someone to watch as a companion because, she disagrees with the Doctor. She is a moral compass for the Doctor, but she will also then support the Doctor when she herself realises that this is what you have to do and, never mind the cost, which is a very Doctor characteristic, which is basically do the thing that no one else, do what's right, not what's easy, essentially.
Oh, a very Dumbledore.
Yes. But obviously you had the end of season, you had the whole sort of, meta crisis stuff. And that's kind of largely either directly or indirectly just kind of dominated anything to do with Donna since, and even the Meep, sort of storyline, the Star Beast, was very much still about that. I mean, granted, it led to some absolutely fantastic comedy moments. But this was probably like the first episode, obviously the Star Beast kind of resolved the meta crisis. So this is Donna back as Donna. So you get the character back, you get the banter with the Doctor, you kind of get to revisit why she is probably genuinely the only person that he would realistically call a friend, and calls several times in the entire run his best friend. Which as we know, if you're a huge Ming Mong, that's a huge thing for the Doctor to even acknowledge that they have friends because of the nature of their existence and life and yada 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 yada. So just glorious. And obviously, sort of one of the things I loved about this was actually one of the ones I think was featured in sort of the actual kind of trailer for the 3 episodes, which was just the whole Donna being quintessential Donna after the TARDIS has disappeared, and doing the whole, so there's something here that the TARDIS has run away from. So most people watching this will know exactly the scene I'm referring to, but it's that literal, right, so we are going to kick its ass. And this is Donna as an ordinary human again at this point, but you can absolutely see why she and the Doctor are so good together. They absolutely complement each other.
Yeah, and a cute little robot.
Jimbo.
Yeah. Even though whenever I saw that, I just thought of Jimbo from Drag Race.
Yeah.
When he in that white outfit with the black eyes.
Yeah.
The weird sperm pregnant. Yeah. I just, unfortunately, for the rest of my life, the name Jimbo is going to give me that image.
Or Jack. No.
I know. I'm not doing it. That'll be all Joseph.
As a bead of sweat trickles down his forehead.
Twat. So Wild Blue Yonder, amazing yomp.
Yomp?
Yeah, yomp.
Is that like a romp?
It's a word I picked up in the 90s from someone I worked with. She used to go on yomps across Dartmoor.
Okay.
I went on a yomp across Dartmoor with her once. I was knackered. So yeah, yeah, I think that's probably all I've got to say on Wild Blue Yonder. Trying to think anything else? Probably not. Whoa, hang on, wait. How did I almost not do this? Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah. Also the alien. The alien that we...
What, the horse?
Yes. That we never actually obviously get to meet, but again you pick up, and again very quintessential Doctor Who. You kind of pick up a sense of who this character was as they piece together what happened on the ship like 3 years ago, and obviously the chain of events that were put in motion. That is absolutely a character that I would love to have kind of met in real life, because the strength of character involved in what that individual both put in motion and what they then did to ensure that wasn't kind of stopped by these aliens. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing with the Starbeast, of course, was the boss.
Yeah.
Even David Tennant doesn't know who that is, according to the Unleashed or whatever it was we watched. So interesting. Oh no, it was the commentary one. It was the commentary track. So Wild Blue Yonder was great. Dr. Lies. And then at the end you had that lovely scene with Bernard Cribbins, which was something like a fortnight before he actually passed away.
Yes, it was pretty much. They said, I think earlier, that it was the only scene they were able to film with him.
Yeah. And just, I mean, the man's a total national treasure. So yeah, kind of but.
It's weird. I was also kind of randomly thinking about that side just now before we started filming, and it's a really weird thing to think about, because again, it's that whole Bernard Cribbins is not Wilf. Wilf is a fictional character that Bernard Cribbins portrayed. But there's still part of me going, but it was so nice that he actually got to see Donna back to normal and restored, and able to remember everything that she'd been through, and it was just like, that's a nice moment for Bernard before he sadly passed away. And I was like, but Wilf was just a character he played.
Yeah, but all the same. That really is everything. So the giggle, holy shit, bonkers. You were really shocked when Mel appered. And I was. But I knew Mel was in the episode.
I didn't.
So I was a bit like...
Because I have stayed spoiler free. You haven't.
I haven't stayed even very spoiler free.
We know you haven't, because we had a whole conversation about how much you weren't spoiler free after the episode ended. That's all I'm saying on that. Until it comes up later in the conversation, because it will.
So I thought Neil Patrick Harris was great fun.
Glorious.
Yeah, absolute hoot.
Camping it up just like he did with Count Olaf.
Yes, yeah, and I love doing that as well, to be fair.
He obviously massively enjoys playing villains.
Yeah. But he didn't for so long, so now that he can, because he used to do that weird, I've not seen it, that musical thing. Is it a Joss Whedon musical stage thing? Dr. Flibbity and his Jubity Boo Bar? That's not what it's called.
No.
You know what I mean, though, right?
I think I do know what you mean. It's not one I'm familiar with.
No.
As in, I've never watched it.
Yeah.
Did it also have Nathan Fillion in it?
I want to say yes. Someone will comment.
And they were like dolls or something.
Oh, were they?
As in, I think there were people. I don't know if they were actual dolls, but they were like. I'm sure they were called dolls.
Right. You're not confusing it with Dollhouse, which was another series that I think Nathan Fillion was in.
I might be actually, yes.
No, these were. I think I want to say these were like stage shows. And he was like a weird sort of Dr. Frankenstein-y type character. It's about 20 years ago, and it was all like all the people that were like into Firefly and stuff were really into it, but I never really.
Well, I was massively into Firefly, but I
never really bothered. I watched Firefly late. I saw Serenity before I saw Firefly. That was confusing. Hi, Charlie. Charlie's come to join us. What have you got to say about it, Charlie Mouse? I wouldn't know you're quiet. So yes, loved MPH.
Dr. Horrible's sing along.
That's the one. Hello. Yes, hi. Hi. Hello. All right, sweetie. Yes, you are a bit needy. Yes, you are. No, you always take you there. All right, right, okay. So yes, I thought that was great. I thought it was interesting that it didn't feel like the whole episode was taken up with the toy maker.
Felicia Day was in it.
Who?
She does a lot of webisode stuff for
Right.
Dungeons and Dragons and
Okay.
role-playing games.
Fair enough. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that it didn't feel like the whole episode was actually about the toy maker. I wasn't running a watch or anything. But it feels like the toy maker was realistically probably about 3/4 of the episode at best.
Yeah, and weirdly, I almost don't feel like the toy maker was even the focus of the episode.
No, almost not in a way. I think there was. I was giggling away at the start about what an enormous dig the entire start and premise was to do with social media and forums and comments and Karens, and I was just like, oh, not being subtle here, Russ, are you, love? It's boom, it's out there. But not incorrect. But yes, very much a commentary on today's entitled to your opinion kind of society, which is ironic given we're just throwing our opinions on the internet in a video. I think the thing is we don't give a shit if anyone agrees with us, and we're not trying to force it on anyone else. I hope that's
As our 7 viewers will attest.
Surely we've got 8 by now. Hello, Charlie. Yes, hello. Yes, all right. You want to come be in the video properly?
We should say something controversial about It's a Sin again, because that seemed to really ramp up.
Yeah, that did well. That did. I think that's still like our most watched videos, like over 1,000 views. All the rest get 7. I think one's got 23. But anyway, yes, I just again I thought it was a hoot, and it was again very quintessential Doctor Who, because it was the Doctor and his companion thrown in his situation, having to deal with. I thought it was. I mean, it was obviously very nicely referenced. The harks back to the toy maker of the Hartnell era, with the image of you called him Alfred Gough then? No, Michael Gough, who played Alfred, and William Hartnell sort of colorized. I did at one point wonder, is this a chance for a Peter Purvis cameo? Because he was obviously in the original story. But even watching old Doctor Who, I can't, because he's just Blue Peter to me. That's just, because of my age and all the rest of it. And then, of course, as previously mentioned, Mel turned up and Kate Stewart. I thought it was quite. It followed on nicely, I think, from The Power of the Doctor, where you've got the meeting of all the old companions. See that Mel is obviously off the back of, or potentially off the back of that. He did sort of talk about the job offer, but given that we also know that Kate had rounded up Ace and Tegan, so there's definitely building to a unit spin-off in the works, I think. Although if current rumours are to be believed, spin-offs are on hold because Disney aren't happy, but could be bollocks. So yeah, I mean, it was just fun, and it was a good adventure, and it wasn't quite as sci-fi mystery as Wild Blue Yonder. It wasn't quite as camp nonsense as and then I've just remembered the Spice Girls bit. Maybe it was as much camp nonsense as the Star Beast.
No, this was full-on camp nonsense.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I think it actually, out of the 3, it's the camp nonsense one.
Yeah.
But the Spice Girls section, who saw that coming? I loved it. I thought it was just awesome. Everyone had seen like the rose petals bit and was going, "Oh, American Beauty," which yes, that one image for sure.
But it's how they get to that point.
I don't think I could have been grinning any wider if I tried. Just amazing. I mean, bloody hell! Just I loved it. I love and he was loving it, and the fact that it wasn't even just the fact that we were hearing the music. The music was happening in universe because he was lip syncing to it.
Well, the fact that they reacted to the music playing before it happened.
Yeah, and the minute you heard it, I just went, "Oh my god, it's the Spice Girls," because yeah. So
to be fair, it's I think the only Spice Girls song I actually genuinely really like.
Anyway,
we are not relitigating my musical taste. We have established my musical taste is very different to yours.
Very different to mine. I love the Spice Girls. So yeah, that was awesome. And then because we've only watched it just now, I'm still sort of processing it, and the other episodes I have watched twice. I'm kind of struggling to do this in order now. But obviously there was in the TARDIS towards the end, there was basically the scene that is the 60th anniversary bit that just nodded back to so many things. Adric, Sarah Jane, I had a little lump in my throat. You know, all these wonderful, wonderful things. And I think this one, as far as mentions back, I think had the most. There might have been other sort of references in the other two, sort of visual clues or whatever, but actually out and out naming previous adventures and things, this was the payload for sure in this episode. And then you had By Generation.
Yeah,
which,
that happened before.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. And I'd heard this was how it happened. That this was a thing. I wasn't convinced the person who told me or whoever told them had got it right, because it seemed like quite a
reach.
Yeah, would they really do that? But fair play, they did. And
it was glorious.
It worked. A treat. I thought it was great. What a brilliant way to subvert the fact that, you know, everyone knows a regeneration's coming, because you generally do know when there's a regeneration coming. But what is it with that face that just won't regenerate properly? Isn't that something like the fourth time he's not properly regenerated?
Well,
or something?
Obviously, turned up. There's the thing with the hand.
So you've got the whole, yeah.
Was it really the hand?
I'm sure there was something else. Am I going bonkers?
Because that was just the fake out region where you get shot by the Daleks,
yeah,
and then just basically blats it all into the hand,
yeah,
and doesn't regenerate,
yeah.
And then obviously you have the meta crisis, and then the massive dose of radiation. At that point, he does regenerate.
Yeah. No, in my head there was something else. Don't know what I was thinking of. Anyway, but either way, no other Doctor has had 3 regenerations and still actually not regenerated, essentially. But this is something I'd heard that this is obviously the way it goes, and that they've done this so that they can basically do specials with David and Donna sort of ad hoc, because that is a whole other Doctor with a TARDIS, but not the main series. Could also then be employed by unit or whatever, so you've got potential there.
Well, there was that glorious bit with Donna basically negotiating a job at unit.
120 grand and 5 weeks holiday, done. But yes, but I'm assuming this is the bit I'm confused about. Is 14 is still 14 and still a Time Lord, still the Doctor.
Yep.
And so will regenerate?
Presumably.
But not necessarily into Ncuti Gatwa next time.
Mm.
So I mean, there literally are two doctors. That is the point. But then what happens? Do you see what I mean? I mean, they may not even show it. It might not even become a thing. It might be just a we accept that that version of the Doctor has got a TARDIS that's parked in Donna's garden, and he uses it for trips to New York and Mars. The Mars? The Mars? New York and Mars. You know, he's not actually out there adventuring because he's
finally stopped running.
Yeah, he's
so much running.
Yeah, he's that part of the Doctor that was tired and needed to stop, whereas Shooty. And then this is why I can understand now why Russell was sort of saying that from Christmas Day onwards you're in a kind of a soft reboot for the show, because actually the Doctor has left all of the angst behind. You know, you think how angsty the Doctor was through
Stop picking your feet.
Through Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, and Matt Smith about various bits and pieces, Time Wars and Trenzalores and God knows what else. And now you really got this sense with Shooty that although that's
it's still part of
regeneration, yeah, and still the same person, you get this sense of almost like counselling.
Well, they even make that reference in the.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Shooty does the whole thing of, you know, I get to be this because you've actually done all of the sort of, you know, essentially counselling and therapy.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, because of the weirdness of like time travel and Time Lord stuff, effectively David Tennant's character still has to go through that, but it basically has carried over. Yeah.
And I think there's an amazing amount of promise in Shooty's Doctor. Just in those 10 minutes or whatever that he was on the screen, just brilliant. And the whole just like you know, sort of what you were just saying about sort of, you know, giving him a hug and a kiss and all that, and I'm so excited for what comes next.
But also just because there's that glorious bit with the hammer. Yeah. And then afterwards, and again, this is quintessential Doctor.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Shooty absolutely gets who the Doctor is.
Yeah. Yeah, that was clear from the off.
Yeah.
And just,
it's going to be glorious.
Yeah. And we haven't even talked about the new TARDIS, actually. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's, I mean, huge. Clearly an enormous set.
Yes.
Like, insane. And not just the police box that's wheelchair accessible. There are no stairs in there. It was all ramps. Or certainly anywhere that I didn't remember seeing any stairs.
No, there weren't.
No, I say anywhere stairs went, a ramp would also have got, because I remember all the ramps. And a jukebox. So yeah, the giggle was immense fun.
It was a giggle.
It was indeed. And I think just sets up Doctor Who on a fresh new path. Looking at the very brief trailer there was for
the Christmas special.
The Christmas special.
It looks bonkers.
It does look bonkers, but it also looks like you're back to the Doctor and a mate.
Yeah.
Just two friends travelling around having a laugh.
Which is essentially, I think, what the thing I always loved about the Doctor and Donna, that you only really got even a hint of, was with Capaldi and Bill.
Yeah, because Bill never fancied the Doctor.
I'd be concerned if she did.
Yeah.
Or at least that particular Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what Bill would have made of Jodie.
Too many jokes. A sandwich.
A brooch, a pterodactyl. You were thinking it. So yes, we've loved the 60th anniversary. We hope you've enjoyed it too. If you're watching this Probably not, because I don't think people who enjoyed it probably watch videos about Doctor Who.
That's actually a really fair point.
We're going to get comments. Viewer number
Are
6.
we?
Viewer number 6 is going to hate it.
Frankly, if viewer number 6 has made it to the end of this video, well
It's
done
long,
you.
yeah, well done. Great thing. So yes, we'll hopefully see you again sooner rather than later. Mind you, we'll probably be reviewing the Christmas special in 2 weeks.
What do you mean probably?
But we didn't do like... Did we do the Marvels? We did the Marvels.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like,
Because we did it as a driving home review.
yeah.
Because that was actually one of the last.
We didn't do Loki though at all, did we?
No.
No. We loved Loki.
We did love Loki.
So yeah. There we go. That's that. Bye.